What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Primetime Sports Podcast, hosted by Joey Maylari. So today, last Saturday of college football of the season, I want to preview a quick game. Louisville, number 25 in the country, will be heading to Kentucky, who is 6-5 on the year. Louisville 7-4 at 3 o'clock. My boy Malik Cunningham probably making his last start in college football today. He's been battling a shoulder injury, isn't expected to make the start, but he will be projected to play in the game, they're saying, according to reports, even though he wasn't throwing in pregame warm-up. So hopefully he plays. He has 8 touchdowns on the year, passing with 4 interceptions, with 1,552 passing yards in 9 games, 561 rushing yards on the ground with 11 rushing TDs. Quarterback Brock Doman will be getting the start for Louisville, 2 touchdowns passing, with 4 interceptions on the year in 8 games, averaging 92.8 passing yards per game with 737 passing yards on the year. Kentucky coming off 2 losses, lost 16-6 to Georgia last week. Georgia, number 1 team in the country, so losing 16-6 is pretty impressive. Wildcats quarterback Will Levis, projected first-round pick in this year's NFL draft, has had a decent year. 17 touchdown passes to 10 interceptions, 2,218 passing yards to go along with 11 starts. So in 11 starts, 17 touchdowns, 10 picks, and 2,200 passing yards, with, I believe, 2 rushing touchdowns as well, even though he's really not mobile. 5th year for Malik Cunningham in college football, so it will be the end of his career probably in college football. So this probably will be his last game playing unless he plays in the bowl game. We'll see what happens there. Obviously, he's had his injuries, so who knows if he'll gear up for the bowl game. But I've been a huge fan of him since 2019. Probably would play in the bowl game if healthy, but as I said, who knows? I'm preparing as if this is his last game that he's going to play in college football. As I said, he will make an appearance at some point, according to reports, even if he does not start. 20 touchdowns last year rushing, with 1,031 rushing yards to go along with 19 passing touchdowns and 6 picks. 39 total touchdowns last year in 13 games, which is very impressive. This year, not as much luck for him, unfortunately, with his injuries. As I said, only 8 passing touchdowns to 4 picks with 1,552 passing yards. Does have 11 rushing touchdowns and 561 rushing yards to go along with that, but not as great of a year, unfortunately. Overall in his career, 70 passing touchdowns to 28 interceptions with 9,644 passing yards and a 62.7% completion percentage. And then on the ground, electric over his career. Similar to Lamar Jackson, he can run and pass, can beat you both ways, and just electrifying when he's in the middle of the open field. It's just crazy to watch. He can beat you on the outside, he can beat you on the inside, and get you missing, go in between 2 guys. He's just electric and just fun to watch. And that's why I became a fan of him in 2019, and ever since then I've been a huge fan. I was lucky enough to meet him when he came to BC to play BC on Parents' Weekend, the first weekend of October, which was great. So wishing him nothing but the best. On the ground, his career, 3,175 rushing yards and 49 rushing touchdowns in his career. So overall, 70 passing touchdowns and 49 rushing touchdowns. So 119 touchdowns total on his career. 70 passing and 49 rushing for a total of 119 touchdowns. So I'm hoping Louisville can get him a win today against Kentucky. It is a rival for Louisville is Kentucky. It's a big rivalry game, which is his rivalry week in college football. A lot of teams are playing rivals, so BC will be playing Syracuse tonight. BC currently 10.5-point underdogs in that game. Last game of the year for BC, I already previewed it in my radio show, but I'll give you guys a quick preview again. Last game of the year for BC, it's going to be senior night for Zay Flowers, Jason Maitre, Phil Jakovic, both of those guys, Jakovic and Maitre, 5th-year players. So, I mean, they technically already graduated last year academically, but this is another senior night for them. Probably Maitre's last game, definitely college football. I think Phil Jakovic has another year eligibility, so we'll see what happens there. But as for Zay Flowers, he will be going to the NFL draft, so it's a senior night for him. Josh DeBerry, cornerback for BC, senior night for him as well. And this is actually the last game day for BC with me being a student there, which is crazy to believe. And I talked about it on my radio show. It just seems like yesterday BC had its first game of the year in 2019 against Virginia Tech. Seems like yesterday I was at that game as a freshman, first game at BC as a student. And here we are 4 years later, or 3 years later technically, 2019 to now. But I'm in my 4th year at BC and just went by in a blink. And obviously having the 2020 season, which was my sophomore year, get taken away because of COVID and having no fans. I was down a year already. And then in 2021, the return was great. And now this year in 2022, BC's having a tougher season. But I'm going to make the best of it. Enjoy the game tonight. 7:30 kickoff on Nesson against Syracuse. Syracuse started out the year 6-0. Have lost 5 straight. They're now 6-5. As a BC, 3-8 on the year, looking to improve and finish the year 4-8. Hopefully get a big win. I think it could be a tough game for BC, but I also think it could be the reverse, where BC just finishes the year hot and gets a win. It looks like quarterback Emmett Moorhead will be under center for BC. He started the last few games for them with Jakovic being hurt. And honestly, at the end of the day, you might as well build for the future and maybe give Moorhead another start, another chance to get more experience, and maybe get a little bit more reps with the offense. Hopefully next year he's going to be back with some of the same pieces. Wide receiver Joe Griffin, probably the best player on BC right now besides Zay Flowers on their offense. He's been great, freshman wide receiver from Springfield Catholic, so he's a Massachusetts kid, which was pretty cool seeing him playing well for BC. And he's a young player, so only a freshman, so hopefully BC gets another couple years out, and hopefully he's our best receiver going into next season, considering we're already losing Zay Flowers and probably lose some other pieces as well. I'd imagine some guys with the transfer portal after a tough season for BC, with them being 3-8 right now. You'd think some guys are going to go to some bigger programs, maybe get some more reps and a better team if we're 3-8. That's our prediction for tonight's game. Since it's the last one with me being at BC, I'm going to give BC a win in this prediction, even if we were not to win at the end of the day. Prediction's a prediction just for the fun of it. I'm going to give BC a win today. I'm going to go 31-27 BC. I think it'll be a close game, but I'm going to give BC the edge. With me my last game going to BC, I figure why not. So I'll give them the edge, 31-27. It's tough to bet on BC considering last week they got blown off 44-0 against Notre Dame. We're down 37-0 at halftime, finishing game 44-0. Didn't even score a point. Weren't really even close to scoring a point, too. It's hard to give them the edge in that game, but at the end of the day, with it being my last game at BC as a student, got to give them the win. And hopefully they get a win tonight. This is their fourth night game of the year at Alumni Stadium. So hopefully the players get jacked up. They're all ready to go. Hopefully they're all psyched. And hopefully we get a win closing out the career for me as a student there, and then also Zay Flowers and a couple other pieces on that defense like Josh DeBerry and Jason Maitre. Maitre, probably my favorite player on the team. I love the way he plays with an intensity, always gives his all. Similar to Sheeta Salah. Salah, defensive end, has been out the year, unfortunately, with an injury. Big fan of him as well. Maitre and Salah, probably my two favorite players on the team. Considering Salah's a senior, he will be back next year with another year of eligibility since he's been out this year. I believe it was a shoulder injury. So BC will have him back next year. He's a premier pass rush, a very good player. It will be senior night for him as well, actually. But he will be back hopefully next year in a BC uniform. As for Maitre, though, I love the way he plays with intensity, unlike anyone else. He's from Everett, Massachusetts, so he's an Everett High football player, and happy to see him at BC. Thriving in all 4 years he's been here. This is actually his fifth year, so hopefully he goes out with a great note tonight. Hopefully he goes out with a win in a big game. But wishing BC nothing but the best tonight. It'll be fun being there. Fourth night game of the year. Night games are just electric, even though tonight will be a little bit colder. I think it'll be around 45 degrees, but hopefully they go out with a win and go out with a high note, ending the career of all those players, as I said. And obviously, with it being my last year at BC, hopefully we go out with a win as a student, but we'll see how that goes, obviously. But anyways, thank you guys so much for taking the time to listen to this. As always, I appreciate it. Hope you guys have a good one. Thank you.